Hey, this is Brett the Hitman Hart, and you're watching So Says Shernoff. To So Says Shernoff. I'm Josh Shernoff, and we are here for a very, very special episode. We are live at Starrcast. I'm live. I'm here live, but you guys are watching this recorded because I like to have some time to make sure that everything's gone smoothly and has been edited so that I look my best. Now, we have an amazing show for you today. Our guest is Dave Milliken, the premier belt maker, as well as a talk with Booker T. I'm trying to just kind of get an idea of maybe how I might be able to finally get into the Hall of Fame. We've got so many legends and so many people here, but there are a couple of people that are conspicuous by their absence, and that is The Undertaker and Kurt Angle. Now, I went to some fans and I asked them, how do you feel about The Undertaker and Kurt Angle being pulled from Starrcast? Kurt Angle, The Undertaker, they were supposed to be here. They're not here. How do you feel about that?
Pretty sad, but they made it up by bringing, I can't say his name, Ibushi, or how do you say his name in Japanese?
So basically they traded out two household names for a name that you can't pronounce. I hear that Conrad Thompson is currently sitting on a donut because of how badly they got him on that one.
The last tweet I read from Conrad was blaming not Undertaker, not WWE, it was Undertaker's representation.
The Undertaker and Kurt Angle were pulled from this event.
Yeah, it sucks really bad. WWE needs to get on the times here.
I'm excited to see Conan. So
Nice.
Up next. So.
Conan the Barbarian, or who we were?
No, Conan, NWO, Conan Wolfpack. So.
Yes.
Not the Barbarian.
That obviously makes significantly. Oh, the Barbarian's here.
No, not the Barbarian.
Oh, just the Warlord?
Yeah. No.
We'll go find the Warlord is here. Whole Powers of Pain. What's your feeling about the fact that they were pulled from this event?
It's terrible. Like, it sounded like they signed the contract to be here, but who knows what goes on with the politics.
I'm going to blame Vince McMahon because...
Oh, okay. Wow.
I mean, Kurt's a Pittsburgh guy, and he's a very loyal wrestling guy, so...
It looks like you guys got your hair cut at the same place.
Yeah, we might...
I would never say that to you, Mr. McMahon, as I respect you and, would like a job. But no, but thank you. I appreciate that. Are you hungover or drunk? When did you stop drinking?
I think we were still drunk.
We stopped like around 5.
And then we woke up and had a beer right now to come straight over here. So.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, you're not going to be rude to stop.
I'm just really pumped to be here in Vegas. I play a lot of poker here, so, it's great to find a new vice to enjoy in Vegas.
All right, how much have you lost so far?
Actually, I just got in last night, but I was here 2 weeks ago, and I did okay.
Okay. But have you lost anything since getting here?
A little bit.
Okay. Well, best of luck to you. Now, I have some terrible news for you that you may have forgotten in your inebriated state. But, of course, Kurt Angle and The Undertaker are not going to be here.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Well, it is what it is. They got told that they probably couldn't be here because of their other prior companies that they're in. So you can't stop them from getting paid from their other companies that they're at.
So your understanding of it. Okay.
I'll give you the more. It's a bunch of bull. They should have let them come. It's ridiculous. It's just a convention. They're not going to be part of the actual show, but because they freaking think it's part of the same, they're just stupid. It's a bunch of bullshit. It really is.
Look, man, we're here in Vegas, okay? You can't expect all your dreams to come true. It's not Saudi Arabia.
You'll never beat them because that's a big entity, you know what I mean? And they're just fully loaded, and it is what it is. But you don't want...
You would know, right?
Yeah.
Fully loaded.
Obviously, you know.
Hey guys, Josh Shernoff here from So Says Shernoff on Fight TV, and I'm joined by Matt Stryker. Matt, how's it going, man?
I've had a better introduction than that. It's Starrcast weekend. It's amazing. People are watching all around the globe, and you give me the, hey, Matt Stryker, how you doing? What's going on?
Well, I've been working really hard, man. I'm exhausted.
Are you?
But you look well rested.
Thank you so much. So listen, I've been doing this for almost 20 years now, but I got to say, you've been doing a fantastic job. You have a reason to be exhausted.
Well, thank you very much. And in all seriousness, yes, we are here, Starrcast on Fight TV. Matt Stryker is here. It is exciting to be here. And if you can't be here, and even if you can be here, you should be going and watching these on fight.tv. Unlimited downloads forever, Matt.
Yeah, and that means that they can just consistently see you over and over. I just realized who you look like. Did you ever see that cartoon Jimmy Neutron?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's you.
Yeah, I have a picture of him when I do my hair every single day.
100%.
I have a picture of him on my mirror.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I call him James. We're close.
Who do I look like?
So anyway, make sure to order Fight TV, Starrcast, and do not miss it. Unlimited, again and again and again. The best in rock and the best in wrestling come together in the Rock and Wrestling Podcast, hosted by Nick Newman, with weekly guests including Frankie Kazarian from AEW, Eric Bischoff from 83 Weeks, Tony Schiavone from What Happened When, Dizzy Reed of Guns N' Roses, and Rudy Sarzo, formerly of the Ozzy Osbourne Band. Download on all major podcast apps. Keep up with us on social media and check us out on Patreon. The Rock and Wrestling Podcast. Download it now. Welcome back to the show. We are here, Caesar's Palace, Las Vegas, for Starrcast, and man, that pool's looking pretty good right now. I think I'm about to hop in there, but before I do that, I have to bring you your guest today. My guest for you, the one and only, the premier belt maker, Dave Milliken. So right now, I am going to throw to myself and Dave Milliken. All right, my guest at this time, the one and only belt maker himself, the premier belt maker, Dave Milliken. Dave, thank you for being my guest here on So Says Shernoff on Fight TV.
My pleasure, Josh, and your check is in the mail for that great introduction. So, yeah.
My pleasure. But yeah, please, certified check. Now then, I want to talk about some of the belts that I have over my shoulder and the belt that you're holding here right now. These are three of my favorite designs. So let's talk first about the United States, the WCW United States Championship belt.
Man, this was something the guy that got me into the championship belt business, Reggie Parks, started with. But you want to talk about history. Oh, gosh. Steve Austin, Vader, Ricky Steamboat. I'm going to forget somebody because it was used for so long, as you can kind of tell from the wear and tear on it. But it's always a good thing when these things come back home. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, the belt that you have, I'm happy to take this off your hands permanently. Now, the belt that you have right here, this is, of course, everybody refers to this as the Winged Eagle Championship belt here for the WWF. Now, this belt, if this is the same one the last time you and I spoke, this is ring-worn leather,
right,
and redone, and I guess not replica because it's the real deal.
Right.
So what's kind of the story behind this belt here?
Back in the day, WWE, WWF at the time, used to send Reggie Parks back this box of belts to refurbish. Okay. And we still do refurbished work for them, but what they did, sometimes Reggie would just give these straps to neighborhood kids, the blank leather, when he'd take it apart, but he found one that he had kept that he'd held on to. So we were able to kind of, somewhere along the way years ago, we kind of put one back together, and here it is. So still some good history in it.
That's really great. Yeah, for a lot of people, that is their favorite belt, especially if you grew up a WWF fan. Now, if you grew up an NWA or WCW fan, that brings us to the big gold right here. You see Ric Flair's name on it. Now, you've told me in the past this is the real deal. If you want to tell us a little bit about this and some of the copies that have been made.
It is probably the most copied championship belt of all time. But that was the one that Ric Flair debuted in February of 1986. It's the one that you saw the NWO spray paint the lettering on with the black spray paint, all the way down the line, all the way through Goldberg, and somewhere toward the end of WCW, they had a prop maker, a cast guy, start doing cast copies of it. So at that point, right at the very end, you had a couple of all gold cast copies, which I have one of over here. I have the belt that belonged to Kevin Nash.
Let's see if we can actually, if you can go grab that Kevin Nash belt off the table, bring that in, yeah.
But this is the real deal. That's the very first one, that Ric Flair nameplate, the whole bit, that's it.
There we go. So here's, I don't have that many hands here. I'm gonna let you hold that.
Yeah. This one was one. They had the option in the later days of WCW. If you won the title, you had an option to have your own cast copy, and this was the one that Kevin had for himself.
So look at them comparing these here.
Yeah, this one is all gold, but it was cast directly off of the original belt.
I'm just gonna hold. I got it.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah. So that's why you're going to even see the bend at the top, and you're going to see that there's not going to be a lot of difference because it was cast directly from it. A mold was made and it was cast directly from it. They just didn't do the removable nameplates and had names engraved on them. And this one was obviously
whoever was holding it at the time. Yeah.
Right, because it's just going to that champion. DDP has one. Kevin Nash has one. I know there were like 4 or 5 of them made. I think this one actually is numbered 5 on the back. So there were a number of them made. But that's the story, man. That's the deal.
So I want to shift gears. I want to talk to you about, because we're looking at some of the most beautiful championship belts ever made. But there are a lot of championship belts these days that do not hold that distinction. Most recently, the WWE debuted the 24/7 championship belt. Now, I don't want to get you in any sort of trouble that's going to maybe lose you some business, but could you give me, in your most political way possible, your opinions on the 24/7 belt, and were you the creator of it?
First of all, no, I was not.
Okay.
I work for those guys, right? I still work for those guys.
That's why I said most political. So basically what you're saying is it's a great belt and people need to give it a shot, right?
Maybe it'll grow on you. I don't know. I mean, maybe. I can say this. I will say this. Sometimes I'm relieved that they don't ask me to do something, and I was a little relieved, especially after the reaction, that they didn't ask me to do that one. Okay, is that good?
That is good. So here's one of the things, though. One of the questions people have. You mentioned Reggie Parks, of course, your mentor, is one of probably the most famous belt maker of all time. People are familiar with Joe Marshall. People are familiar with who've made different belts at different times.
Some Milliken guy, but
that Milliken guy. A lot of people wonder with the designs, they always want to know if they love it, who do they give credit to? Most fans love to know if they hate it, who do they blame?
Right.
What is a situation, some of the newer belts versus some of the older belts? For instance, the Winged Eagle belt or this United States belt, who would have designed those versus, let's say, the 24/7 or the tag titles, the rounded tag title belts?
Okay, when you look at something like a Winged Eagle or like a United States belt, this was when it was in our hands, be it, whether it was Reggie or our crew, basically, okay? So at that point, we didn't really have an approval process. Dusty Rhodes would call and say, we want a new Western States Heritage title. Mm-hmm. And then you sent them what you came up with, and they liked it. They were happy, and that's how that worked. And now the companies, WWE specifically, everything is designed in-house. The only WWE title currently used at all that's not a WWE design is the Intercontinental, which we own. And the rest of them are their creations, their designs. And that's the main difference. We didn't really get a lot of bad feedback that I ever recall back in the days before then. And I don't know, I attribute it to maybe, and this is not their fault, these people are hired to create graphics and artwork. But they sit in an office and maybe they don't know as much about championship belt design because they might have also done some other graphic work that week that, it's kind of a hard thing to explain, but this is what we do.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's why we didn't get the kind of feedback that they get. Plus, in the internet age, anonymity plays a big part, and people love to just crap on something just to do it. Absolutely. So, no matter how great something is, somebody's going to say, I hate it.
All right, so before I let you go here, I just want to ask you a couple more questions. I want to know what your favorite belts are for each promotion. So WWF, favorite belt in the history of the WWF, favorite belt in the history of, we'll say WCW, NWA, we can kind of combine those, and then any other, outside of that, any other promotion that maybe is one that's your favorite.
I think for WWE/WWF, it's probably got to be the Winged Eagle belt with the Intercontinental a close second. Man, I'm so torn on the NWA. Here's my getaway from that. In the NWA, it's the Dome Globe belt. Okay.
All right.
In WCW, it's the Big Gold belt.
Gold.
So that's cheating a little bit, maybe.
That's
but and when you get past that, AWA, man, the big Nick Bockwinkel belt. Remember that? It's a little before your time, but But I love that one. And the thing Ring of Honor had me do for a few years, the Ring of Honor Championship that they just recently replaced in the past year or two, like I really like that one. And I know that and speaking with Cody Rhodes, that Cody that was one of Cody's favorite belts too that he's ever held, one of his favorite titles. So, in more recent stuff, I'd say that Ring of Honor title, I really liked it. One more, I would say, two more. The IWGP title.
Yes, beautiful title.
For Japanese stuff is going to top the international market. Mm-hmm. I think that's got the win there. But there's something remaining to be seen here.
That was going to be my final question.
And man, I don't know. I'm very proud of it. And when the powers that be got a look at it, they were very happy with it. So that remains to be seen, but there is an AEW title, and that's not a secret that's coming.
Yeah.
And
hopefully by the time this airs, we all will have seen it, and I can put a picture right over us of that belt. But very excited. So that goes along with my question. Did you create that belt?
Yeah, I did do it, and I'm very proud of it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us here, and I hope that my questions did not get you fired.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I managed to hang on somehow, so I'll be all right.
You'll be all right. You'll be fine. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.
The best in rock and the best in wrestling come together in the Rock and Wrestling Podcast, hosted by Nick Newman, with weekly guests including Frankie Kazarian from AEW, Eric Bischoff from 83 Weeks, Tony Schiavone from What Happened When, Dizzy Reed of Guns N' Roses, and Rudy Sarzo, formerly of the Ozzy Osbourne Band. Download on all major podcast apps, keep up with us on social media, and check us out on Patreon. The Rock and Wrestling Podcast. Download it now. All right, so I'm walking down the hallway. Who do I run into but the two-time WWE Hall of Famer and five-time WCW champion, Booker T. How are you?
Hey, man. I'm doing great. Actually, I always say I'm doing grand. Actually, I really am.
It's even better than great.
Yeah.
Now, I have a question for you. Can you show everybody your rings here? Look at this. Look at this here. Now, look, I've been doing my show here on Fight TV, so says Shernoff. I know you're probably a huge fan of it. I don't even need to tell you about
what's
it. But
the name of it again?
It's So says Shernoff. Thank you for asking that just for them.
Oh,
right?
okay.
I've been doing this thing for 7 episodes, 8 episodes.
Got a long way.
Not a single call about the Hall of Fame. So what I'm wondering is, what do I have to do?
Wait, I mean, you got to put in more time.
12 episodes, probably.
One thing, you got to feel a whole lot more pain. You got to grow a whole lot more. And I'm not talking about his stature, his size, or anything like that.
Yeah, because that's not happening. Yeah.
But I think that's the one thing you got to put. But when you get to like your 1,000th episode, then come talk to the committee. Yeah,
that feels like a lot.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
So maybe we'll negotiate something more about maybe closer to like a 15 or 20 episodes. But I'll work on it. I'm gonna work on it. But thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. But soon is basically what you're saying is that people can expect it soon.
2030. Yeah, 2030, 35.
Okay. I think I got a long way before I'm a two-time Hall of Famer.
I'm just saying, I'm just saying, I mean, I look, like I'm a very young man, but I'm actually 68 years old.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that one bit. Nah, one bit. First of all, not a day over 35. This guy right here. I'm 35. Don't look a day under 70. So yeah, we're doing well here. But hey, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me, man. Appreciate all the advice. Thank you. All right, well, that's our show. Thank you to Dave Milliken for being our guest. Thank you for Booker T for just teaching me a little bit about how I can get that Hall of Fame ring. And thank you to Starrcast Conrad Thompson and everybody at Fight for having us here. Join us next month for another episode of So Says Shernoff. This has been So Says Shernoff because that is what Shernoff had to say. See you later, guys. Where am I? I think that went well, guys. We'll just kind of keep going.
Excuse me, sir. You cannot take those belts.
Yeah, these here, they were a gift from Dave Milliken.
Not your belts.
These are kind of. Is that the Undertaker?